Hello, everybody. I hope you're well. I'm Hiramone, and welcome to Get Set Global. In today's show, I have five amazing women. Women who showed the courage to take chances, to believe in their instinct, became relentless, and today they are inspirational for many. I'm acutely aware that the word successful can be subjective. But to introduce my panel of guests today, that's the best way I can think of to introduce them as successful women. All right, let me get this right the second time. They are successful Assamese women. They are high achievers, independent, powerful. They are women who understood the meaning of authentic strength, creating a personality that allows them to serve the energy of their soul, something that is beyond their looks, something that is beyond their achievements, something that is beyond their material gains. They are redefining how the world appraises women's strength. They care to use their voice for the voiceless. They care to be the cheerleader of other successful women. They care to empower one another to be brave in the face of fear. Why? Because they know. Because they know that when women succeed, everyone benefits. And that's the kind of women I have got on my show today. What an honor and pleasure. I'm excited to know how did they get here? Their successes, their great moments, not so great moments, and what made them the person that they have become. And let me tell you this, through their journey, through their story, you will be able to identify your strengths, that you are great the way you are. And no one, absolutely no one, should make you feel differently without your permission. Well, I think my panel of guests, they are ready to ignite light, love, and fire. So buckle up, guys. It's going to be a power-packed ride. So are you ready? Let's go. Um, my first panel, my first guest, she is joining me from New York, and she is Rita. Only if I can get her. Hello. Hi, Rita. Uh, Hi there. So we have got Rita Kakotisha, and like I said, she has joined us from New York. A quick introduction. So Rita Kakotisha, she's an award-winning gender equality, gender diversity, and inclusion strategist and advisor for Fortune 500 companies. She is the founder and CEO of UMA. UMA is a platform through which she basically works with organizations to bring back women and minorities to the workplace. She has been awarded in recognition of her global leadership, her entrepreneurship, and services to businesses. Well, I wish I remembered all the awards you have won, Rita, but some of the awards that I hopefully can remember are, I think, Triple Stevie Award. You have also won the award Excellence Citizenship and Diversity Award, and you also won the King's College London Distinguished Alumni Award. As the surname suggests, you are an Assamese, brought up in the UK, and now live in New York with your husband and two children. Because of the work you do, we have got so much to talk about. But I would love to bring my other guests as well. So my second guest is she's joining me from Mumbai, and now hello, Dipanita.
Hi. Hi.
Hello, so lovely to see you, and thank you for
Very good.
joining.
Thank you.
So not that Dipanita, I need to introduce you for people to know you, but if that's okay with you, I'll just give a quick introduction, and especially some of the highlights. All right. Um, So Dipandita Sharma, she's an award-winning actor, supermodel, a producer. She came into limelight after making it to the top five in the Miss India contest. Same contest, he also won Miss Photogenic, I think, title. And soon after that, Dipandita became a big name in the fashion industry, gracing the ramp of both national and international brands. Dipannita then entered Bollywood with her debut film 16 December. Some of the other movies I can remember, I know there are many more movies you have done, but I loved My Brother Nikhil. Take It Easy, you have the popular movie, what is that? Ladies versus Vicky Behel. And also, we saw you recently in the Yash Raj film War, which was released in 2019. You have also done your first Assamese movie called Hoi Khobatet Hemalite in 2017, for which you won, I think, the Best Actress Award in LA. And I think audience knows that you hail from Assam. You were born in Duliajan. And what a journey from Duliajan to the world stage, Dipannita. Thank you for being here. Um, and I would bring my, all right, I would bring my next guest, and she has joined us from, hello, Bubita Vaidu.
Hello.
Hi.
So nice to be here with you.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. So I will give a quick brief about Bobita Horma Baidev as well. Again, I don't need to introduce you people. Everyone knows you. But a couple of highlights. So Bobita Horma, she is a producer, a director. She's an award-winning author, a presenter. She's also acted in movies, televisions. Before all of this, she was a senior lecturer in history, I think, for Pandu at Pandu College. You have also served as the honorary chairperson for the Assam State Film Finance and Corporation Limited. When you released some 8 movies, some of them won awards. And you also are associated with Congress, Indian Congress Party since 2002, and you're a spokesperson for Assam Pradesh Congress Committee. I have got more to talk to you about because I know it has such varied, work you have done, body of work. And Aisha Hazarika, who is now, am I echoing? I'm not enjoying because it feels like I'm echoing. Um, so, uh, Aisha Hazarika, she is one of our guests, but she runs a show for the Times Radios for at the same time. So she couldn't be here live, but she is kind. So she has sent us videos, which we will play during our discussion. But for now, I'll come to Rita. So, Rita, your work around women empowerment, you have said, and also gender diversity and equality, you have said that a third of women in developed countries, they're leaving jobs after having children. And you and I know that if these are the numbers for developed countries, the numbers got to be higher for developing countries, which of course includes India, and Assam is a part of it. So, what kind of work are you doing, and how are you training women and minorities to get back to workplace? And what story are you telling to organizations that they got to have gender diversity, equality, inclusion in the top of their agenda?
Great question, and thank you for having me, Hira. So I really started to helm my company Uma from a personal response for myself. I was in the corporate world. I came from finance. I spent 10 years in London at Goldman Sachs, and then I transitioned into the healthcare, the pharmaceutical industry, and then I moved to New York. And I took about 3.5, 4 years off to raise my 2 children, who are now 5.5 and 7.5. And then when I explored going back to the workforce again, it was very difficult. I would meet with friends of mine for coffee in finance and healthcare, and the questions I would get was very much about the fact that I had taken some time to raise my children rather than what are my credentials and what I could bring back to the workforce. And then I found that this messaging appeared not just with myself, but my new peer group, my new friend circle, which was other fellow mothers in New York City. So I thought, I want to do something about this. This is not fair. This is not the case. I mean, arguably, the hardest I've ever worked in my life was as a full-time mother. You know, I thought working at investment banking was tough. I thought traveling and crossing multiple time zones in business development was sometimes tough as well. That was nothing compared to being on call 24/7. You cannot take a sick day. You're always on top of it all the time. So that's really why I started and I helmed the company UMA to really empower other women and minorities in a similar position. You get more skills by being a mother, I would say, than I even got when I was in the workforce. I tell people all the time that if you can negotiate with a toddler or an adolescent, there is nobody on this planet you can't take on. So take that conviction with you to the boardroom or the next interview we have.
Yeah, I love that. I love that because once you are a mother, you know how to negotiate,
Absolutely.
the negotiation skills. And I also feel that I think I think people who take a break, they should never think that they are probably a little bit, not up to date with the recent skills, because what businesses are really looking for is transferable skills. As long as you have them and you're able to show the, like you said, negotiation skill, maybe organization skill, project management skill, talk about them. Talk about them. Yeah. So yeah, great. All the great work we're doing, fantastic. Tipandita, because this show is about more from the global perspective. So I would like to know the kind of work that you have been doing in the international space and also your achievements in that space. Also, I want to know. Do you think, or did you think it required a different kind of attitude or different kind of mindset, or maybe preparation to work in an international space? Did you also see any difference in terms of work ethics, working within India, outside India? And I'm asking all of this for those aspiring girls and boys who also want to make a mark, probably in the fashion or entertainment industry, want to work both nationally, internationally. What can they take away from what you have to say?
I think for me, the biggest lesson in my entire journey has been resilience. That's what has carried me forward. Uh, it's not about a different attitude or the fact that you support from here, there, people talk about a lot of these things or how much struggle have you had, but every struggle is personal. Somehow people have the tendency to think that struggle is only if you spend 2 nights in a railway station and have vada pav for days. And I am not taking away from that struggle at all. I mean, that is another level of struggle, but we mustn't negate the levels of struggle that everyone goes through. Everyone's struggle is different and it doesn't end. This is what I wanted. This is a very, very important lesson that I have learned, that people talk about struggle like it's when you struggled. No, the kind of work that we are in, it is a constant struggle. I have had to, when there was this transition from fashion to films, it was a struggle because nobody would accept a model can act. That has been the biggest question. I have gone from audition to audition being told I am too thin. I am, too glamorous to fit into this. While people think discrimination hasn't happened in that arena, but it's untrue. I feel discrimination, that's why I keep saying discrimination is a mindset. Everyone, we just continue to discriminate. If you think someone from a glamorous background hasn't been discriminated against, it is completely untrue because I have gone through it. So I'm saying for me, the biggest lesson has been resilience, that somebody will tell me you cannot do this and I will say, no, I can. So I will prove it to you. And I do that every day. I still do it. I will do one film and I will win that award for the Assamese film, and yet people will question me. Oh, really? You did that? Wow. Okay. Can you then do this as well? And I am like, I'm an actor, and you know, fitting into different roles and parts is part of my DNA and should be. Who's putting me in a box is you. You decide to put me in a box, and I have to fight that every day, and I will, if that is what I have to do. So I think for me, the journey from from starting from Assam, coming into Delhi, then to Mumbai, then in a small way breaking into the international space, has been a learning experience in different stages, and for me as an individual, I think every way I keep growing, every hurdle helps me grow. Every hurdle that I cross helps me grow. I think a lot of people also say that, oh, but you know, what kind of struggles have you had? Just because I maybe smile through it doesn't mean I haven't had the struggles. Maybe I want to smile through it. Maybe I want to take that as a lesson. Maybe a hurdle is not something I want to hold my head and say, oh my God, it's a hurdle. No, yes, it's a hurdle. Who told me? Who said life is going to be easy? Nobody told me that. So I want to tackle the hurdle, and I want to do it with a smile, and I want to do it the way I want to do it. I want to create my own path. And this is, I think, the biggest lesson for me. And when I go forward, when people ask me, I always tell them the younger lot who want to break out into the entertainment industry. I always say that, don't get disheartened by, I have gone from audition to audition for 2 years. Before I bagged my first big campaign, perhaps, and fashion, of course, is great because, the ramp loved me before anyone else. So, so the fashion designers were always kind, and they always thought that, okay, I think the first few auditions I got selected, but the really breaking into sort of better work, bigger league, it didn't happen instantly. It doesn't happen instantly. So I think that instantaneous mindset, if you have that, then it's going to be very difficult. It's you have to fight it through, and you have to have the resilience. And for me, that has been a big resilience and reinvention. That is something I think has kept me going, and I thank my strength for it. That I
All
found the
right.
strength to go through
Sure.
it. Yeah.
Sure, sure. No, well said, Dipanita. I think two things that you definitely kind of said and that people can take away. One, resilience, of course, the line you are in, and I think in every field. Resilience
Yes.
is what will keep you going. And the second thing you have said, reinvent. And like you said, success is not like you have once and you stay there forever. It's just a constant thing. And I think somehow I felt you also saying about identifying your unique quality, who you are, what makes you. And once you know that, that's what you have said throughout. Once you know that,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. I
and
just wanted to add one more thing. Sorry. I always say this, that success does not have a measuring tape.
no,
So do not, you have to stop comparing other success with you and keep looking at someone else, because there's always be someone in that space who the world sees as more successful, and there'll be somebody who the world sees as less successful. Doesn't mean your efforts are any less. Your
so
journey
true.
is what makes you who you are.
Absolutely. And I knew this. This is what we are trying to say all this while, because until you know who you are, you are always going to be kind of determined by what others, the world is saying. Then where do you have the time to and energy to spend time to do the work that you want to do? So thank you for saying all of that, Dipanita. Coming to Bobita Baidu. I know that you have done work internationally and you have been hugely appreciated for the work you have done. So, your uh, television series or serial, which is the longest running TV serial that I think was on Doordarshan Kendra, Guwahati, called Bideshot Apun Manu, which means our own people abroad. And you were the presenter of that show, and which I think lasted from 2001 to 2008. And you featured 13 countries, which also included UK, and you spoke to featured Assamese NRIs who are settled abroad. Uh, what was the experience like working in all these different countries, different people, different weather? But more than that, also some of the difficulties you might have had to go through and their kind of impact, because I know that the show or the serial has won award as well, Rapa Award. So what was the impact like?
Hira, I'm really grateful to you and honored to be on your show. And I'm really proud to see, first, I must say, see Rita and Dipanita, because I had seen them before they have, I've seen them grow. They were young girls when I'd seen them. So I'm really proud of both of you. Well, regarding Videkhot Apun Manu, um, you know that I feel humble today when you see it as a global perspective, because when we set out to shoot for Bidekho Rapun Manu, we never thought that it would be, like a global something. We never had that kind of intention in our mind. Actually, it was, we had some experience in shooting abroad when Dr. Nipen Borkotoki, you know him very well, he is
Yes,
Kinmoy's mama, my husband's
yes,
mama. He had invited us to England to feature Dr. Bhupen Hazarika in a program which they had done for the on behalf of all the alumni of Assam Medical College. So that gave us an experience. And after that, when that program was aired on the Doordarshan, we for a different kind of serial, it was Kiti Malika. We got another invitation from Canada, from Mr. Gokul Sharma, and he was the president of the Assam Association of America. And we were invited to feature their Assam Day, Assam Convention. So that gave us the idea. It was actually my husband's concept that why don't
ah,
we interview all the Assamese people staying abroad? Then we said, okay, that's a good idea. But I was, I was in two minds regarding what kind of an interview it will be. But I was clear about one thing, that when we do an interview, it should not be, inside a room over a tabletop. It should be something like experimental. You can go and talk in the garden. You can talk and go inside the kitchen of somebody and talk there, chit chat there. Very
yeah,
informal kind of an interview.
sure.
And we decided to present it in a travelogue style. And I think that must have appealed to a lot of people. And seeing somebody from a small village in Lakhimpur or Tinsukia, I know, going from a small village in Assam and making a successful life abroad in a foreign country with a lot of struggle, has a lot of adjustments to be for them, for their children. So these kind of things we talked about, and I believe that that must have made some impact back home, because
Yeah.
even today I receive a lot of messages on Facebook, on Messenger, on WhatsApp. You know, uh, Even today, after 20 years, they talk about this serial with a lot of nostalgia, especially the
Yes.
young people. Children. They must have been children at that time when the children when the serial was on air, because they say that we used to watch the serial sitting on our grandfather's laps. So you can imagine, they are now grown up men and women, and these grown up men and women are, I feel that maybe I could make some impact in their lives, because when you have a exposure to a global exposure, even through television or through stories, you get to open your mind. You get to see the world in a different, perspective. Because when you
Yes.
see that there are no boundaries regarding gender, regarding color, regarding, festivals, whatever, because feel that everybody is same. Human beings are same. It is only your the way you look is different, or maybe the what you eat may is different. Your belief system may be different, but otherwise you are all the same. And that opens up a whole new mindset of people, that you get to be more inclusive, more accommodative in your thinking. I would like to believe that maybe that is some impact that I gave through our serial.
I really love this answer because what you say, I think so spot on. When you said that after 20 years people still talk about it, that makes a difference because life moves on, but people still look back and they have got fond memories. And I think also what you said about that we all the same, although you had this whole fresh new idea, but you could connect with people. And I think that absolutely what matters because you could connect, you can still connect with them today through the show. And that really had a big impact. And not only that, the award is a testament to that as well. So, so lovely to hear all of this from you. Now, to all of you, as you know, Aisha Hazarika is also one of our guests. But because she has her own show for Times Radio at the same time, so she couldn't be here live. But like I said, she's kind, so she has sent us the videos. So I'm going to play the first video. And just so people know her again, Aisha Hazarika is a very well known name and a face both in the United Kingdom and Scotland. So she's a broadcaster, a presenter. She is a sought after political commentator. She was a former political advisor to the very, very senior Labour Party politicians like Gordon. Who was the president? Who was the prime minister? Oh God! Anyhow, so Ed Miliband and Harriet Herman. She has advised all of them. She's an award-winning comedian as well. And she is an author. She is a regular face on televisions and radio. She comes in really prestigious shows like Andrew Marr's show, Have I Got News for You? And she has won, in fact, she has been awarded the MBE title, which stands for the Member of the Order of the British Empire. It's huge, like it is significant. And she has won this, the honor is given by the Queen, and she has got it because of her extraordinary contributions in the field of politics. So that's Aisha Hazarika. And I asked her that all this kind of different work that she has been doing has her Assamese connection, because as you can tell from her surname, she's an Assamese, but she was brought up here in Scotland. Has her Assamese connection contributed in any way to all the work that she does or she has been doing? And this is what she has to say.
I was born into an Assamese family, and I do have an Assamese name, and it's quite an unusual name. There's not many people in the United Kingdom that have Hazarika as a surname. So people often remember me because it's quite unusual. And also people ask me where it's from, and then I tell them about Assam. And people are always really interested to learn about Assam because it is a fascinating place. And often people have heard of the tea, obviously. So that's why they remember me, because it's an unusual name and they remember Assam tea. So that is quite a good connection. And I really like Assam tea as well. I have very fond memories of visiting Assam. I have been a few times visiting my family with my parents. I have fond memories of being in Guwahati, Jorhat, Lochinpur, going to the tea gardens as well, where my uncles worked. And I think that Assam is a very beautiful, fascinating, interesting place, with really interesting, fascinating people and a very interesting heritage and history and sort of position as well. And the politics are very interesting as well. And the economics are very interesting in Assam. So all in all, I feel very proud to have an Assamese heritage and an Assamese name and an Assamese connection.
Okay, so as Aisha said, that she's proud to be an Assamese, but I think I can say on behalf of everybody, people of Assam, Assamese, that we are proud of Aisha Hazarika and all the contributions, all the work. She is a role model. She really is for all the growing girls, who can look up to her. Um, I'll come back to her again, but now I'm coming to Dipannita. Uh, Dipannita, you don't come from a fashion or an entertainment background. Um, but then, you went on to becoming a supermodel, an award winning actor. You reached the highest highs and you got into the peak of your career when boys and girls of your background, of your age, probably would not even think of or dream about doing things like that. Are you okay? All right. Um, so, I mean, some may say that she had it all. She looks great. She has the looks, and she probably has financial support. Uh, but probably you have a different story to tell, and I want to hear that story, your struggles, obstacles, self-doubt, and all the forces that kept you determined to kind of overcome those obstacles and get to your glory, successes, and so forth.
So I think probably part of it I already answered in my first answer because I'm so, I think, dying to get
Yeah,
to this. Because I hear this question so many times,
you do.
oh, you had all the support and you had, this support and that support. I think because I went through it with a smile, if I had, I think, given a couple of interviews where I had held my hand and I said, held my head like this and said, "Oh my God, I went through this. Oh my God, I went through that." See, I think for me, my self-respect and pride has been so, so important. And that I like going through everything without, making much ado about it, because I know that when I've stepped into a profession where I have no precedence from my, family, it is
Yes.
not going to be easy. It is, I mean, struggle is a very small word for it. You know it from day one. But if I sit and cry about it, how am I ever going to, overcome the hurdles? Uh, the support, yes, I've had a lot of, I think, moral support from, and I'm very thankful for it, from my family, from my parents. Yes, you're right. At a time when the girls and boys from Northeast, I mean, no one had stepped into, I think, this world. I did, and I had the entire support of my parents. There were a lot of people, there were a lot of naysayers. I had to hear things from extended family. I did it for years together, and I still hear it. And there are, I mean, I don't even want to get into it because I have started taking it with a smile. Because for me, the larger support that I've had from the people of Assam makes a huge difference. The kind of love I have received, and the support from people who I have never met. But the fact that I represent Assam and I'm from the Northeast, they love me for that and they encourage me for that. And that itself, I think, is a huge strength for me. It has always been. So coming back to, and my mom and dad, I think dad, bless his soul, and I'm so grateful for all that he is. I grew up with a feminist father. I have to say it. He was a feminist father, and he always said that women have the power to change things, and I don't know when the world will realize it. And perhaps if he was alive today, he would have been very happy that things are changing. So he would always, when I think even my mom was worried when I was stepping into this world a little bit, because of course there are about 50 people telling her things, poor thing. So my dad was the first one who said, look, I've been to a mental college and I have seen enough things there. So if you're going to think about, oh, only in this profession stuff like this happens, and that profession, this doesn't happen, and this profession takes out the best people. You're completely wrong, because it is very individual. And if if children are growing up right, and if we have we have, if we put our faith in her, trust me, when we put faith in someone, they keep your faith, they keep your trust.
Sure.
So he said, trust your upbringing. We have given her the best. She wants to do something. Let her go ahead and do it, because she will only be successful if she does something that she really likes doing. So I thought I got a lot of strength from that. That is probably for me to keep going. That always resonates with me. The stuff,
Sure.
everything that Dad said. Then eventually mom support, and then my sister, always my best critic and my best friend. So going forward with that, I was in university, in Delhi University, when
Sure.
I was doing my history honors in IT, and that's where I started doing my college fashion shows. And there were people who spotted me, and they said, "Why don't you try this profession?" I said, "Okay, I'll give it a shot." That is when this big debate whether I should actually give it a shot or not, sort of sort of came up. I gave my final exams. I started doing my professional auditions. Then I got selected for fashion shows. Then I was invited to join Miss India. So I went for that contest. That sort of catapulted. It was a huge platform. Catapulted my career. Where catapulted my move to Mumbai. And when I moved to Mumbai is when actually the real struggle started, which
Yes.
also, I mean, I smile and say, because from I didn't have a place to stay. My first local garden, I started staying for a few days. It was a family friend, and on the fourth or the fifth day, I was asked, "So, how long are you planning to stay here? When would you leave?" And that was my first, sort of, you've never heard something like this,
No.
and you thought somebody is a family friend, and it hurt. Then from there on, so see, also your energies align so many times. From there, I'm always grateful to Mona Bai and Kamlesh Riju, Mona Lisa Barua, because Dad is very close to Aarti Jathai, their dad, and they happen to be there. And they were almost godsend, because they said, "Don't worry, you come and stay with us." And they were probably the first ones who never said, "When will you leave?" They actually, loved me. So I said, one bad experience, and there's good experience as well.
Yeah.
So then I said, "Okay, can I look for a PG, please? I can't feel like, staying with you, although you all are so lovely." And they truly are so lovely. And then I eventually found a PG, where I had food issues, because they wouldn't give me the food that I wanted. They insisted I eat the food they cooked, and I couldn't eat that because it was super spicy, wasn't used to it. I resorted to burgers. Imagine, I am trying to break into the big league of models, where I need to take care of my health. And what do I eat? I eat 2 burgers a day, which started telling on my health. I had hair loss issues. I, in fact, went through alopecia for a really long time. It was nutrition related and stress related at that time, because I was trying to adjust to something which didn't naturally come to me. So eventually, I had to leave my PG. Eventually, I found a roommate, and then we started staying together. Suddenly, then I had semblance of things. Then slowly, and the journey continues, from there. You
Yeah.
move from one rented apartment to another. You continue doing your auditions. You bag something. Then for days you might not bag something.
Yeah.
You travel abroad for shows. So it in this, I think one thing that I learned, that you have to learn to take things in your stride, because if you don't, then you are, adversely affecting your your the way you are, the
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
yeah, your
Yeah.
inner self. What is most important at the end is your inner self. And if you've chosen a profession, you have chosen to to see through, then have it in you to see through it.
Sure.
Go through
Yeah.
the struggles, you know, with a smile.
Yeah. With a smile. Absolutely, Dipanita. I think we all can, kind of hear from your story that you have gone through your share of struggle, and who doesn't is also you're saying. And also, I think you were saying here that sometimes people think that that person has made it because he or she has got it all, but here you are saying that it matters not what background you come from, it matters not what financial support you have got. I want to also say that it matters not what your physical appearance is, but it may be slightly different in some industries, but if you dig deeper, it really doesn't matter. It is what matters to all the things that you have said, the hard work and persistence and all of that. So coming from someone like you, I truly hope that it helps somebody out there who is listening. Um, Thank you for that, Dipandita. I would come to Bobita Baidu. Uh, Bobita Baidu, you have made varied choices in your career throughout your career. I mean, if I say, I think your career started as a child artist when you acted in the national winning movie called Onirban, which was made by Dr. Bhabendranath Hoikia. And then your award-winning book. That's like the first book, which is on Assamese film history written in English. And of course, you were awarded for it. So we know about your successes, the shows you have done, which are so well appreciated. Did you or do you have phases in between all of that when you feel clueless, when you feel like giving up, when you feel like I just want to chill? Does that happen? Or when that happens, what is it that helps you to come back to it and get back to focus again?
Well, Hiramani, I must tell you that my mother was a working woman, so I've seen women work from the beginning of my life. So I always thought that women should work, should do something at least, even if it may be helping your husband in the business, or even small thing, small job, whatever it is. You have to be engaged in something. Well, I must tell you this. When I got married, before I got married, I was already doing programs on television as a presenter, and I was working in serials. So after I got married, I was a little worried that maybe whether my career in films or television will continue or not. So I told Chinmoy that I would very much like to continue. And within a few months of our marriage, I was starting to feel like a vegetable because I was worried that nobody will give me any work. But then, thankfully, I started going back to being a presenter on Doordarshan and a newsreader. And after that, serials started pouring in. So I continued doing that. And then we both decided to produce our own serials. That's how Giti Malika, and there was another serial which my sister-in-law had done. So all these other serials had also taken off from our own production house. So we had our own production house. At that time, I also got a job as a lecturer in Pandu College. Doing that, managing both was difficult. I also had my child 1 year after marriage. So being a young mother and doing everything, those days, how it flew, I can't tell you, because it was really wonderful to say the least. But I had the support of my husband and my in-laws and my own mother, and I had a good support system, which is very important for women with children, especially if you have a career. And those days you do feel that maybe you should have spent more time with your children, but then I had the advantage that I had my own production house, so I could manage time according to my own needs. So that was one advantage. Regarding politics, because I think what you meant was more in politics, because politics is a main male dominated field, and I came into it in 2002 as a spokesperson. And I feel that yes, in a male dominated field it is difficult for women, especially in politics, to hold forth for a long time, and especially when it is so very difficult to even get a nomination to contest an election. I got chance to contest an election after 16 years in the party. But before that, of course, actual electionism, but of course, before that, the party had given me a lot of responsibilities to work for the organization and also as a chairperson of Assam State Film Development Corporation for 10 years. So that was a good learning experience for me, although it was not through elections. But then I feel that being a part of the grime and dust of the world's largest democracy and contest an election is itself is a learning experience for me.
Sure.
Maybe one day
Sure.
I can write a book on it. Anyway, so these struggles are there, but then these hurdles, these failures, these struggles should be seen, as Deepanita has said, it makes you more resilient and these are pillars of strength for you. It should not be seen as failures. Nothing is a failure in life. I don't see it as that way. I think each is a learning experience and you have to move forward and go about it.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah. Wonderful.
you have to keep at it, and persistence is the key to everything, to success in
Yeah.
life.
Fantastic. So persistence is the key to everything in life. And
Right.
like you said, I think, do you guys feel that there are lots of noise happening or you're okay?
Yeah.
Some
Some
noise.
There is
crackling
some.
Some
sound.
noise, yes.
And I do not know what I can do about it. Okay, there's a lot of noise. Okay, we'll continue until it sounds too bad and see what I can do. But no, thank you, Bobita Baidu. What I will do, I think I'll play my next video that Aisha has sent. And because of all the work that she has been doing, I wanted to know from her that what is her idea of success, how she has seen success all this while, and has she done anything differently to get to where she is today? And this is what she has to say.
I'm very lucky that I've had a very varied career. I've done many different things. As you say, I've worked in the civil service, I've worked in politics, I've been a stand-up comedian, I'm a journalist and a broadcaster and an author. So I've been lucky enough to do lots of things, and I have had a very varied career, and I've worked with some very interesting people from all different walks of life. And people sometimes ask me if I planned my career, and I absolutely did not plan my career. Often many of the things that I've done have often happened by accident. They've often happened when something else hasn't gone well or hasn't gone the right way, and then I've tried to do something different. I think I always wanted to do something slightly different, slightly off the beaten track. I was always very interested in comedy, in writing, in journalism, in politics and the media. And so my career has taken lots of different twists and turns. Not everything has gone well. You know, I have worked in politics and worked for a political party, the Labour Party, which has lost 4 elections. So not everything has been a huge success. But I think what's really important is that nowadays there really isn't that much job security. There really isn't a traditional job for life. Your career will often change just because circumstances do. And I think change can be quite frightening. It can be quite daunting, but it can also provide a new challenge and lots of opportunities. So I think what I've done differently in my career is that I have tried to pursue things that I have always been very passionate about and very interested in. I tend to get very bored if I'm doing something that I don't really love. And sometimes you do have to take risks. Sometimes the things that I go for are not that secure, or they maybe aren't that well paid, but they are a new exciting opportunity. It's a chance to learn something new or develop a new skill or work with very interesting different people. But on the whole, you know, I do feel very lucky to have had the career that I have done. I've had a lot of fun. I've experienced lots of different things, but I've also worked very hard for it. And I do believe that the harder you work, the luckier you get and the more opportunities you get. But certainly to have worked in politics and to work as a journalist is a great privilege, and one which I enjoy enormously.
Wow. As Aisha said, harder you work, luckier you get. And I think all of us would say that absolutely, absolutely. And, she also said that success is a series of failure. I'm not liking this noise and not sure what's going on. Uh, yeah, so I think I would go and ask Rita the same question. Um, but your organization, UMA, which the tagline is "Be bold, be you," and after speaking to you, I can sense that there is something special about your idea of bold, your idea of success. So I want to know about that, and also want to know. If you are to empower someone, be it a girl or a boy, man or woman, what would you tell them so that they feel good about themselves?
Great question. So the tagline, be bold, be you, be Uma, is about embracing your inner spirit. Ultimately, the company Uma, I call her the goddess of go-getting because Uma, the goddess, she is a mother, she is a wife, she is a sibling. She performs the role that all of us as women at some points have in our lives. She's very strong, she's unwavering, she's confident, and she's determined. So that's really the underlying role model, I guess, that goes through all of us. So that's really where the tagline comes from. The first thing is just when you go forth unafraid. Take that boldness that we all have, that fighting spirit inside of us. Be yourself. A lot of us forget that we have our inner voice, we have a fighting spirit that we are born with. And through life, we all go through self doubt. It happens to all of us. But when that happens, it doesn't matter which book you read, which magazine you're looking at, which TV show, only you can do something about it. It comes from within. So one of the things that we really work with at UMA, that I personally do as a career and business strategist, is focus on the inner voice and how do you build unshakable confidence in somebody. Quite a lot of the time, something that gets us really passionate. I'm an entrepreneur. When you become an entrepreneur, it's usually something that really drives you the wrong way or something that annoys you so much that you want to make change happen. In my case, it's seeing an obvious inequality of how women are treated in the workforce, not just where I am in New York, around the US, but across the world. So I wanted to do my bit about that. So in terms of answering the question, it's what I think about success is you have to acknowledge that it's something that means something to you personally. You have to determine your own success. You set your own goalpost. What I see a lot, and especially in the Eastern world and developing countries, is that success is defined by what other people think. And that's unfortunately what the rest of the world is circling around, and that dampens us and it makes us go into a shell. That is not the confidence we want to bring out. We need to stand on our own 2 feet and remember that passion that drives us. So I think point number one, always remember that you determine your own success, you determine your goalposts. Find that support network, find your tribe, your friends, your family that have got your back, that will support you. If you don't have that, it's very, very tough to go and do your journey, whatever you're doing. So that's really part of it. In terms of then how do we build that confidence, it's really finding that passion, that voice, and then finding clear ways of communicating that. There are 2 things here. One of them is you have the confidence and you think, yes, I'm ready, I'm going to go for it. Then how do you get from A to B? How do you then walk into a room, a usually male-dominating room, and then you say your piece, but you say it with precision and concisely. So a lot of it is really practicing preparation, practicing what you're going to say, and you go on, you practice on that communication. And you have to be very, very prepared for a lot of knockbacks. We've all mentioned today about resilience and persistence. You get told no a lot. For me to get in my position, to go around the world and speak at global forums, I heard the word no a lot. I heard a lot of people trying to cut me off when I'm about to speak, but I'm thinking I have a point to make. I'm going to make it. And it's up to you to make that point, and you have to very clearly know what your goal is and go for it. So I think what I want to leave everyone with is to show that it's persistence, it's being very concise in what you're saying, but very, very clear in your goal. Don't ever lose sight of what your vision is. And then ultimately, we have that fiery goddess of go-getting, that Uma inside all of us. And that's something that, don't let go of when you're going forth. I tell it to companies, the companies that I train, I tell it to individuals as well. But it's a very, very powerful mantra, a mission that you should remember. Confidence, I tell, is almost like a muscle memory. It doesn't just come one day, you have to practice it. You practice it every day. It could be music, it could be meditation, something that reminds you of who you are and gets that spirit going.
Yeah, so wonderful, wonderful, Rita. That's it. I think all of this that you're saying, you're actually telling to be authentic. You're telling to bring out the truth and also not really define you by what others want of you. You have to set your own goal, and that's where I think this confidence comes, and this confidence that we talk about, it just doesn't come from somewhere and you become confident. It is something you build every day. But everything you said, I think really, really makes sense, and I'm really hopeful that people will be able to take away something important from here. Now, as always, we run out of time. But I have got a very important question to ask all of you. So I will start with, I think, Bobita Baidu. So Bobita Baidu, we notice that women usually take lesser chances than men when it comes to fulfilling their dreams. And reasons may be many. We know the structural reasons. Women obviously produce babies, they have to bring up children. There are discrimination. So keeping all of that in mind, give what you think some of the simple steps that women can take to bring themselves forward and fulfill some of their dreams, even if it's just about being financially independent. What are those steps?
See, Hira, I think when to empower a woman, the most important thing is to educate oneself. Education is the most important thing. We see that most of the people here are mostly in the villages and all. Education is not given much importance. I'm not talking about Assam, all over India as a whole. When you see child marriages, when you see women being not given the right kind of background to educate themselves, these things have to be done away with for a woman to come forward. And also financial independence, economic independence. Only when you have education and economic independence can you actually go after your dreams. You can do what you want to do. But first you have to educate yourself, and first you have to educate and become economically independent. That is for every mother to feel. I feel that every mother should, first thing they should do is when they have a girl child or a child, whatever child, everybody has to be educated, but especially a girl child, they should make sure that when you give birth, you have to make sure that the girl is educated and can stand on her own feet, have that kind of education that makes her feel she can stand on her own feet. That is very important, I think.
Okay, all right. So you are saying that education has to be the key, and I couldn't agree more, because education, what it also does, it allows you to make choices. It allows you to make decisions for your life. And if you don't have that, I mean, where do you go? So I know that lots of work is going on across the world, but 130 million girls across the world are out of school. I mean, think of that number. And we really got to do something. And I'm really here not liking the noise. It's a constant noise somewhere, but I don't think I can do much about it. Dipandita, we have spoken about women empowerment before. And you have said that women empowerment is as simple as fighting for gender equality in every sense. But it's not so simple, because it needs to be felt at the core, created at the core of the society. So I want to know more about your idea of women empowerment, and what do you think needs to happen so that women or men can feel more empowered? What's your idea?
So thank you for this question, because this pertinent topic, and in fact, I had sort of a wonderful conversation yesterday with Barkha regarding this, in fact,
Mhm.
because I had tweeted about something and she wanted to discuss that further. So here's what I feel. Okay, so when it comes to women empowerment, no one is going to do it first. We have to do it ourselves. We have to do it ourselves as women, and which basically means we have to begin with supporting each other's choices as women. We have to support each other's choices, start pulling each other out of the boxes we ourselves have put ourselves in. Because we, a lot of times as women, start putting other women or themselves in boxes. This is what we need to do. This is what we are going to do. This is what she has not done right. This is what I have done right. I'm saying it from personal experience. I'm saying, so which is what I mean when I say we have to let go of patriarchal, discriminatory mindset. Patriarchy includes men and women. That's where we begin. We cannot ever have equality if we continue to have patriarchal mindset. A boy is being brought up in the house giving a different set of rules, and a girl is being brought up with a different set of rules. Cannot happen. That will never bring equality. So that is what I mean when I say that we have to, as women, start pulling each other out of the boxes and say that I support your choice. There are women so the other day I had a conversation with someone, and this is someone from the same age group, and someone sort of a friend who said that, oh, I've had children, so I'm doing something more important than you are because I have not yet, me and Dilshir have not yet decided to have children. So I'm saying these are things we have to stop doing to each other. I respect what you do. I today I'm sitting with empowered women like Rita and Bobita Bo and you, Hiramani, and I'm so proud. Your choice is, you have a home, you have children, you have career. That's your choice, and I respect it so much. There are women who I know who say, we don't want to get married, we don't want to have children, we only want to do career. There are women who say, we want to have only home, we want to have children, we don't want to do anything else. We have to respect everything, but we cannot start pulling each other down. So the first thing we need to begin doing, and which I think in a way has started, but I'm talking about this in a larger perspective, especially in a country like India, where judgments come very quickly, and we are currently in a moral dilemma as well as we see it in the media. There's this big story playing out over this. That we as women just need to be there for each other, empower each other, be each other's strengths, rather than because we have been played against each other for way too long. So we have to at least stop doing this with each other when we are so aware. We're educated,
Yeah.
we're aware. We have to, we've talked about how education gives us choices. So then let's really do that. Respect each other's choices. That empowers us and automatically empowers you.
Yeah, yeah, no, well said. Really well said, Dipanita. I mean, we have a long way to still go. And I can hear you saying that, women empowerment really, it's not a revenge. It's not, against the other gender. It's just loving yourself and just respect as the respect that we want as a gender. Who has defined that, women and men have got different, kind of status in the society? And I think something really important I wanted to bring up here, which I'm sure others would also agree. Women empowerment is everybody's business because it's not for women. Because what happens, women empowerment helps with the economy, it helps with the second generation, it helps a woman who is educated, who is working. She has enormous contribution to education, health, wellness, children bringing up, peace in the society. So what is there not to like about women empowerment? So it's not women's business, it is everybody's business. So but what you said, thank you for that. I actually asked the same question to Aisha, because I know Aisha Hazarika this is a very important thing for her as well, women empowerment. And during her time in politics, she has done a lot of work around women empowerment. So I wanted to know her idea about women empowerment, of course. And this is what she said.
Women's empowerment is something which is so important to me. It's been really central to my career in British politics. I'm a huge believer in gender equality, and it's not just fair and right that every human being, every man and woman is given the best chance to fulfill their potential. It's also really good for society. It's good for the economy. Allowing women to make the most of their potential, helps everybody. Equal societies tend to be more peaceful and more prosperous societies. But I think a lot of the work begins with girls in schools and around education. It's really important to send a message to young girls as they're growing up that they can be anything they want to be, that their gender should not hold them back in any way. And I think it's also really important that they have role models. It's really important that we support women into getting into positions of power across society, in politics, in the media, in law, in business, in medicine, in academia, in science, in engineering, you name it. It's so important for women to have positions of power and influence and to be seen to have those positions. There's a phrase, if you can't see it, you can't be it. And I think the more young girls and women see older women succeeding, that will be inspiring to them. I also think it's very important that men play their part. I think it's really necessary for men to be allies to women, for men to support women in the workplace and to give them equal opportunities, equal pay, equal respect, but also to do their bit, not just at work, but in the home as well, sharing the domestic labour, childcare, looking after older relatives. That is something which, modern society should see men share alongside women. We really need men to be allies, and we also need to teach, young boys and men that being a feminist as a man is a really good thing. A strong man is a feminist. And I do think that I want women in Assam, and all over India to be ambitious for themselves and for their daughters and for their granddaughters. Everybody should have the chance to make the most of themselves. That is what a modern society does. And I feel very proud to have many strong, successful, feisty, determined Assamese women in my own family who inspire me every day. My mum, my aunts, my cousins. And so I feel that I have good, strong, feminist Assamese blood in me, and I'm very proud of that.
How wonderful was that? Something she said struck me. She said, if you can't see it, you can't be it. And that's the reason why we need to have role models. Otherwise, the young children, girls don't have anything to look up to. And that's why we need to create more jobs at the top for women. We must have to. Now, I know that running out of time, but then Rita, I want to ask you the same question. But I want you to give me a blueprint. Okay. So like we discussed, that women empowerment has to be at the core of the society, that it is not because we are empowering someone, but you are empowering yourself, your family, society, nation, the country, the world. How can we create that kind of an awareness? If I talk about a place like Assam, what blueprint would you give so that Assam or the world can use?
That's a great question. So I would say, just in terms of women's empowerment, just because of the work I do, and we very much focused on gender equality, gender equality doesn't mean pushing men down. It's more about bringing women up. What I see a lot when I'm speaking at different forums is a lot of women talking about women's empowerment, but really degrading the role of men. What that does is the reverse of what you're hoping it's going to do. It makes people angry and it makes people turn against you. So it's almost like the situation that Dipanita gave earlier, that if you are coming from a family background where you have children, and then somebody doesn't, you're going to be saying, well, I do it this way, that person's wrong, and automatically you pass judgment. The way to do it is by educating others. So to Bobby Bar's point about education, you have to educate who you think is not understanding you right now. Everything is about taking a step back, listening first. You always listen to the other side of the story first to understand where their frustration is coming from. I do this with the women's empowerment argument all the time. I listen to the most male chauvinists for a living. This is what I do. And my job is to convert their viewpoints. These are CEOs of global companies. And I can't even tell you some of the conversations and things I hear. So I listen to them first. I want to hear where they're coming from. Now, research also shows that men who have had working mothers themselves are less likely to be chauvinist and are more likely to empower their own daughters and women in the workforce. So I take that as well, knowing about what is their background. I want to understand them. So a couple of things. Women's empowerment is about really educating. Do not put men down. Understand that you want to equalize the responsibilities. Educate about the role and what we are contributing to society. You know, if men and women were equal, according to a report by McKinsey, we would add $25 trillion to the global GDP if women and men were equal and worked the same. That is a statistic you cannot argue with. So right there. In terms of the blueprint, unfortunately, there isn't one that exists. Otherwise, it would already have been done. But what we can do is know and treat every culture as being unique. Something that we do for US companies is very different to what we prescribe to the UK. Very different, even more in India and in Assam. You know, you have cultural, you have societal biases as well. You know, there is an expectation that, yes, okay, you can work in India, you can work in Assam, but at the end of the day, don't forget you still have to look after your in-laws and cook for the family. People may not say that, but there's that expectation, that bias that exists. So it's almost like you have to work with the grounds and the realms that you're in to educate the other side. Instead of sort of stopping whatever you might be doing, educate the family that you're living with. Educate your bosses about what is it you're going through, what do your hours in your day look like. Talk about stresses you're going through, ask the question back. And then you can understand. When people understand each other, it's a very different conversation to have and much easier for that blueprint.
Yeah, awesome.
Hiramoni, I would just like to add one point here. I won't take much time. I also feel that when we talk about women empowerment, the environment also has to be conducive for women to grow and work, because we have seen. Do we feel that our women are safe at night to go? We see so many rape cases, you know. Do we feel that our women are safe in the households? We see so much of domestic violence. Well, how does society respond to that is also very important. The system that is there, how they respond to women's problems is also very important. And the leaders of the country has to see to it that the environment and the systems are a place for women to be empowered, you know. That is also very important.
Yeah, I so like everything that all of you have said, because I think we are saying in some way the same thing, that as long as you are saying that women and women problems and women empowerment is something that women talk about, is their department to sort out, we are never going to win this game. It, like you said, it is every department's business that women are secure at workplace, at home, in the society. And like Rita said, look at the economy. 130 million girls, if they were educated, what the contribution would have had in the world. So if you sum up both of that, then women empowerment is for everybody. Please make this world safer for everyone. So thank you for all of these lovely, beautiful answers. I have got a very, very, very special guest, and she's here for a very specific purpose. I tell you what, she is someone who has had experience of abuse in her own life. And I'm going to bring her right over to the panel and hear out her story. And she is Adrija Biswas. Hi, Adrija.
Hi,
So
Hiramani. It is such a
lovely
pleasure
to.
being here.
Now, thank you so much for being here. Now, before we come to you, I wanted to I wanted to give a very quick introduction of Adrija. So Adrija is a corporate leader. She is a philanthropist. She's a visionary. She's a humanitarian, a motivational speaker. She also has launched an initiative called Rise and Shine Again, through which she creates awareness against abuse and also helps women to have a purpose. She has been featured by BBC London as the global inspirational woman. She has been featured by talk shows, radio shows. She has been awarded for the kind of work she has done. So, Adrija, you are highly qualified, highly educated. You are successful in the corporate world. You are doing great, but you have had the experience of abuse in your own life. And I'm saying this because I have the permission of you to say this. So, not only psychological abuse, you had physical abuse as well that you have faced. What happened?
Well, that's a really interesting question here, isn't it? Everybody asks me that. You are highly educated, you've got 3 degrees. How did that happen to you? And all I can say is, as Dipanita said, also, what happens behind closed doors, we don't really speak about it because sometimes we are culturally attuned to think that it is okay because that's how our culture accepts. We're not allowed to talk about it because what would people think? And the support system is probably not there because if I do raise my voice, how do I get out of it? But for me, I think Kira was, I didn't even recognize the signs. I grew up in such a loving family where women were empowered. My grandmother, she had done her MA literally pre-independence, and we supported girl education in our family. So where I'm coming from is a very loving environment to recognizing abuse. I thought maybe that's how marriage is supposed to be. And in Indian families, you're told that you need to be tolerant, you need to make your marriage work. And now that I learned the signs of abuse, it's about gaining someone's trust and then making them feel that they are nothing. You lose your confidence, you completely become a different person because you no longer have your own existence. That's how abuse starts. So it's psychological, it's controlling your mind and making you feel like you have no existence of your own. And it happens very slowly, very gradually. It's only the physical scars that people see when you have physical abuse. When you talk about emotional, when you talk about psychological abuse, you're not prepared for it. So when you ask me what happened, I didn't even know the signs of abuse. And but what happened is I went into an absolute shell. I hit rock bottom. Um, and today I'm here talking to you only because I have the support system. So my ex even broke my support system. But Babita, you talked about having family and supportive families that were there when you were multitasking, you were looking at your production house and your child, and you were managing your role in the college. My parents rescued me. And if it were not for my parents, I probably wouldn't have been here talking. And how much ever strong of a woman I am, we need the society to be tolerant, to accept people that people come from different places. Sorry, Hira, you were saying something.
Adrija, I am getting messages to say that we can't hear you very well. Do you mind just logging out and logging back again? Shall I try doing that?
Yeah, sure.
Although there has been a problem, even I feel I am echoing. But let me try to remove you and bring you back again.
Sure,
Yeah.
no problem.
Okay. Okay, sorry. Let's see. I really hope it works this time.
Are you able to hear me now?
I can, yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. So I was just saying that, for me, I've not only just gone through ups and downs. A lot of people know that I am also a 9/11 survivor. But on 9/11, I could have either lived or I could have died. But I lived and I
Yeah.
survived and I spread that hope and I spread happiness in abundance in whatever I do. But I went through those personal 9/11s. And Dipanita talked about being in the box. Dipanita talked about people prejudging you and putting you in a box, and you kind of think that that's where you're supposed to be. Rita, you talked about women living their dreams and not being afraid if they're coming back from a mat leave. So it's all about inclusion and diversity,
Yeah.
and that's what I did. So through all of my personal 9/11s, where I have fought in the highest level of governments, I have set precedents in Indian history and Indian government, because I had like a 10 years long legal battle, with resilience and
Yes.
attitude. I had to be resilient for not only my family and my son, but that is a message that I was giving to all the other women that were fighting constant battles. All I want to say is that we all go through our personal 9/11s. Each one of us are struggling. We're going through challenges every day in our life. Be kind, because you just don't know what the other person is going through. In my case, my parents rescued me. They made me restart my life all over again. That's when I did my MBA. So I already had a master's degree in engineering. And I was finding it really difficult to find confidence, to rediscover myself. And today I am a corporate leader. I am a global leader. I'm an innovator. I have my own patented app. I'm big in inclusion and diversity. I have teams globally that I am mentoring. I teach my daughter to be fearless. Kira, you talked about the cycle of abuse and create peaceful communities. Absolutely right. It's not a women's issue. Men and women, we together need to be working hand in hand to break that cycle of abuse, to break those preperceptions in society, to break that, the word that Aisha said, if you can't see it, you can't be it. That is spot on, because if I can see, or if my daughter had to see that I am struggling with abuse, I am actually creating a norm for her. And that's what we need to break in society, whether it's honor-based killings or whether it's brothers undermining sisters because it's not your place in the society. Who said that? So
Yes.
that's where we need to change the mindset of society, our families, our people, that you never know who is trying to rediscover themselves, come out from a caterpillar and become a butterfly. Give
Yes.
them the wings, make them fly, support them. And women empowerment is not just about women pulling out women, it's men supporting women, it's fathers. Dipanita, you're very, very lucky. You said, your father empowered you to be the woman who you are today. And we women, and here are amazing, amazing show. I want to give a round of applause to all of these incredible women that are here today, that are sharing their voice and encouraging people that hear our stories. They know they're not alone. They're not
Yes.
alone in their struggles and in their challenges. What I say is, and this is my motto of Rise and Shine Again, the reason I founded Rasa is because I wanted to tell women that no matter your past challenges, struggles, pains, you can always restart your life. I mean, I'm an academic, but I'm also a beauty queen. I was Mrs. India UK Universe 2019, only because I wanted to be the voice of so many women that we are speaking for. That all five of us on this show today are representing. We're incredible women. We're all doing extraordinary things. We're all unsung heroes. So let's, support each other and be there. Defeat, and then this is my favorite quote, and I wanted to share with you that life is like a boxing ring. Defeat is not declared when you fall, defeat is declared when you refuse to rise. So rise and shine again.
Yes, rise and shine again. Adrija, I am so grateful you are here today because here we are talking from a different perspective. Someone who was so up and close with these experiences is now sharing her story and giving the positive message out. Then you can constantly keep upgrading your life. You are not the prisoner of your past. You are not the prisoner of what happened to you in the past. And thank you so much for everything that you have shared. And I think I want to make one point here that victims of abuse, they should never think that they are the cause of their partner's misbehavior. It's a totally misconception. And they should always know that they are not alone. There are people waiting to help. I can vouch for these five people here that if we know somebody is in such situation, everyone is ready to do their bit. So no one should ever feel that they are alone. And with that thought, can I just say it's been so wonderful to talk to each one of you, hearing your ideas, thoughts, your stories. You have inspired me. And if people out there are inspired as well, then we're winning. I think we're really winning here. But thank you for your time today and enjoy the rest of the Sunday and take good care and goodbye for now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
All right.
Hira.
Thanks so
All
much.
Thank
right.
you. Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
It was a panel. Thank you.
Okay. Cool. All right. So that is the end of another episode. I think these discussions are important. Important because to hear from high achievers like my panel of guests today and have a deeper understanding that the society has been selling a wrong story that you got to have privileges to chase your dream, to get to your dream. The truth is that you can be whatever you want to become. You really absolutely can become what you want to become. And your gender can't be your limitation. Question is not why gender equality, why gender diversity. The question is why not? Why not gender equality? It's good for the economy. Businesses will grow better. Societies progress. Individual growth. What is there not to like? So, to the women, to the men out there, we can do better. We can do better together with you as allies. With that thought, thank you for watching today's show. And thank you to the Sentinel as well. Have a great week. Do take care of yourself. And I will see you very soon. Goodbye.